And now the most important thing for this section, for defense abilities. In response, they said that the United States were not developing missile defense capabilities against Russia. So it's up to you. You can do what you want. We'll just believe that you're not doing this against the United States. Where did this come from? Basically, it's obvious. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia, which they identified with the Soviet Union, this is what they called it in the West. The Soviet Russia, they said, speaking about national borders. Russia lost 23.8% of its territory, 48.5% of its population, 41% of GDP, 39.4% of its industrial potential, almost half, 44.6% of the defensive capabilities, because the armed forces of the Soviet Union were divided between former Soviet republics. Our modern military equipment was obsolete, and the armed forces were in pitiful conditions. We had a civil war going on in the Caucasus, and leading uranium enrichment facilities had U.S. inspectors working there. And at a certain point, it was a big question whether we will be able to develop strategic weaponry at all, whether some even asked whether Russia was capable of servicing nuclear weapons we inherited from the Soviet Union. Russia was deep in debt and unable to fund its armed forces, and our partners probably believed that the resurgence of the economy and the defense sector of the economy of our country would be impossible in the near future. And thus, there was no need to take Russia's views into consideration. They decided that they should push forward and achieve unilateral dominance so they can dictate their will in all the other areas as well. This position, this kind of logic, is understandable based on the reality we had back then. It's our own fault. After the United States withdrew from the ABM Treaty for 15 years, we did our best to bring the Americans back to these discussions about strategic stability, and we were able to achieve a few things. We've signed the New START Treaty in 2010 between Russia and the United States on further reductions of strategic offensive arms. Yet when implementing these plans to build global missile defense systems, all the agreements that we achieved as a part of the New START Treaty were undermined and devalued, because as the number of nuclear charges gets reduced, one party, namely the United States, increases the number of interceptor missiles, improve their characteristics, create new deployment areas for their interceptor missiles, and eventually, if we do nothing, Russia's nuclear potential will be fully undermined. They will be able to intercept all our ballistic missiles. And in spite of all our protests, the U.S. machine is working at full speed. The conveyor is running full speed. They've deployed missile defense systems in Alaska and California. As a result of NATO eastward expansion, they've set up new 2 areas in Romania and Poland. The range of interceptor missiles will keep growing. They have plans to deploy such missiles in Japan and South Korea. There is also a sea-based group of 5 cruisers and 30 destroyers deployed in the areas close to Russia. Without any exaggeration, I can say that they are working on this project at full speed. So what have we done apart from protesting and warning? How did Russia respond to this challenge? Here's what we did. After the United States withdrew from the ABM Treaty unilaterally, we've been working hard to create new promising weaponry systems, and this enabled us to make a big step forward, creating new strategic arms. U.S. global missile defense systems is mainly against ballistic missiles. And ballistic missiles, this is the core of our nuclear deterrent, just like with other nuclear powers. This is why Russia has been developing very modest price-wise, but extremely effective systems to defeat missile defense, and all our ICBMs are equipped with such systems now. Also, we have developed a new generation of missiles. Namely, currently, the Defense Ministry works together with the defense companies in the space industry, and they're testing a new missile system that uses a heavy ICBM. We called it Sarmat. This new system will replace the old Voivod system that we had during the Soviet period. And Voivod was considered a highly effective weapon. Our foreign partners even used a different name for it. But Sarmat is a much more powerful system. With a payload of 200 tons, it is hard to be intercepted by missile defense capabilities. The range of this new missile and the number of warheads is higher than with Voivod. Sarmat will be equipped with hypersonic high-yield systems with capabilities for beating missile defense systems. This new system can be used under any conditions. Let's now watch a video.
дальность 11 тысяч километров.
Voivod had a range of 11,000 kilometers, and with Sarmat, with the new system, there is no range limitation. As you can see from this video, it can attack any target through the North Pole or through via the South Pole. This is a powerful weapon, and no missile defense system will be able to withstand it. But even this is not the end. We've developed new strategic weapons that don't use ballistic trajectory at all, which means that missile defense will be useless against it. This is what I'm going to tell you about now. This new kind of weapon, promising weapon systems that Russia has developed using new, unique technology designed by our engineers. One of such systems is a small, super powerful nuclear energy system that can be deployed in a cruise missile like X-101, a Russian missile, or US-made Tomahawk missile, yet its range will be like 10 times higher, which means there is basically no limit to its range. It's a small missile with unlimited range and unpredictable trajectory that can avoid all intercept barriers, cannot be intercepted by existing or future missile defense systems. Let's now watch this video.
Это обход рубежей обороны показываем. Поскольку дальность не ограниченная, она может как угодно долго маневрировать.
This is unheard of, and nobody else has such a system in the world. They may create something similar in the future, but by that time our guys will come up with new ideas as well. Next, we all know that currently the whole world works actively on drones. We have unmanned submarines that move at ultra-deep levels intercontinentally with a speed that is much higher than the speed of modern submarines, torpedoes, and even the fastest surface ships. This is just fantastic. These vehicles are noiseless, and there is no defense system in the world today that can cope with such subsurface vehicles. They can be equipped with conventional or nuclear weapons, attacking coastal defenses and infrastructure facilities. December 2017, we've completed testing this new innovative nuclear propulsion system for this unmanned subsurface vehicle. It's extremely small, and at the same time, its size is 100 times less than a regular submarine, and at the same time, it's more powerful, and it takes 200 times less time to get to the launch site. This enabled us to develop new nuclear systems equipped with new nuclear charges. Let's watch the next video now.
By the way,
We all know that a country with a high level of science and economic development are working on hypersonic weapon systems. And vulnerable interceptor missiles are not able to catch up with hypersonic missiles. This is why the world's leading armies want to have this weapon system. Friends, Russia now has such a weapon. We already have it. As we work on new systems, we've developed a new hypersonic system, air-based system. And I think you understand by now that nothing similar exists anywhere in the world. We've successfully tested this new system on December 1st, 2017. This system is already operational in the Southern Military District. It's on combat duty. Unique specifications of this new system will enable us to deliver the missile to its target in just a matter of a few minutes. This hypersonic missile that travels at the speed of more than 10 Mach can also maneuver, overcoming all the existing and I think even future air defense and missile defense systems, delivering its payload within the range of 2,000 kilometers with conventional and nuclear charges. We gave this system the name of Kinjal, dagger. Let's watch the next video now. But even this is not the end. A real technology breakthrough. We've created a new missile strategic system that uses a fundamentally new equipment. It's gliding block, cruise block. We've successfully tested this new system as well. We've repeatedly warned the US and European NATO members that destroying intercontinental targets with hypersonic speed and high precision, able to maneuver in terms of both its course and altitude. Every word of what I just said is important. There are no such systems currently anywhere in the world. End of quote. Of course, every word here is important because we talked about missiles that are capable of bypassing, avoiding defensive barriers. We made no secret of our plans. We spoke openly of what we were about to do. We wanted to motivate our counterparts. This was in 2004, like I said, amazing. But despite of all the difficulties that we faced over the years, economic and financial problems with our defense industry, with our armed forces. Russia remains major nuclear power, but nobody wanted to talk to us seriously. They kept ignoring us. Nobody listened to us. So, listen to us now.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Итак,
So,
существующих типов боевого оснащения эта система отличается.
this system is different from other existing systems because it can go to dense strata of the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds
более чем в 20 раз.
to 20 Mach and more.
Планирующий крылатый блок
This gliding cruise block
осуществляет глубокое маневрирование,
is capable of deep maneuvers, lateral,
так и по высоте.
several thousand kilometers, and also altitude-wise, which makes it completely invulnerable for any missile defense systems. It uses new composite materials, which resolves the problem of controlled long-range flight in plasma conditions. It goes like a meteorite towards its target, like a fireball.
На поверхности изделия достигает 1600.
The temperature on the surface of this weapon reaches 2000 degrees centigrade, and at the same time, it is still completely under control of the operator. Let's watch the video. And that's just the beginning stages of production. Last year, we started equipping our military units with combat laser systems. I won't go into details because it would be premature, but specialists know what I'm talking about. Such systems significantly augment Russia's military capabilities. Now let's watch this video now.
Для тех, кто интересуется военной техникой.
For those interested in military systems, I would suggest.
Попросил бы.
I would ask you to send in your proposals for a name for this new system.
Конечно, мы еще будем заниматься.
Of course, we will keep working, fine-tuning, honing these new weapon systems. And of course, I didn't tell you about everything, all the new things we are working on. But that's enough for today. And I would like to emphasize one thing in particular. I would like to emphasize one thing in particular. These systems that we have developed and continue to develop, these new strategic arms, is not something we just inherited from the Soviet Union. Of course, we used some of the ideas that our predecessors developed during the Soviet period, but basically, all the things I told you about today are newest developments, things that we designed in just recent years. We had dozens of design bureaus and research centers working on these things quietly, calmly, without making a show. They worked hard for a number of years on these projects. Thousands of people working on these things. Thousands of excellent researchers, scientists, engineers who love what they do. Workers, including a lot of young people. They all, just like our servicemen who performed valiantly in combat conditions, they are the true heroes of our time. Right now, I would like to address all those people. I would like to tell you, we will certainly give you awards and benefits and so on. And I met you personally many times. I know this is not what you're working for. You just care about ensuring our country's security. So as the head of state, as the leader of Russia, I would like to thank you for everything you did for our country. This is precisely what our country needed today. All these new military systems are based on excellent achievements that will later be used in high-tech civilian products. But I would like to mention one thing specifically. These unique weapon systems can only be developed, designed and developed in a state that has the highest level of fundamental science, research centers, industrial facilities, labor force, and you can see now that Russia has all these assets. We will continue developing this potential, and we will focus on the large-scale issues that we face today in our economy, in the social sphere, in infrastructure, and such successful development of our country will always be well protected. Each of these weapon systems is unique in its own way, but it's even more important that all these systems added together will enable our defense ministry and our general staff to develop a future defense system for our country, where each weapon system will play its own role. In addition to existing weapon systems, strategic arms, which we will also continue modernizing, Russia will now get a new defense system which will secure our country's security in the long term. Of course, we still have to do a lot of things in reforming the military, but even today we can confidently say that Russia now has a modern and compact, considering the size of our country. Army and the core of this army are loyal and committed military officers. Equipment, military systems. Sooner or later, other countries around the world may have that as well, and we are not concerned by that. We have these new systems, and we'll have even better systems in the future. But the key thing, nobody has such people as Roman Filippov, for example. They will never have such people as pilot Roman Filippov.
Надеюсь, что все, что было сказано сегодня.
I hope all these things I have said today will sober up any potential aggressor, and unfriendly steps taken towards Russia, like deploying missile defense system, expanding NATO, moving it closer to our borders. Militarily, this is no longer effective. Financially, this is unjustifiable, and eventually, this is just nonsensical for the people who do this. All the things I told you about today, we had to inform our counterparts because of the commitments we've made internationally earlier, and our defense ministry and foreign ministry will discuss this issue in the future with our partners if they're interested in doing so. I will only say that all this work has been conducted by us within the limits of current arms control treaties We're not violating anything. And I'd like to emphasize specifically that this military power is not to threaten anybody. We have no plans, neither we have ever had plans to be an aggressor and attack anybody. We have never had any plans to attack anybody. We are not going to take anything away from anybody. We have everything we need. On the contrary, I'd like to emphasize, and this is very important, Russia's growing military power is just a guarantee of peace on our planet, because this military might will preserve the strategic balance, the balance of forces in the world, which has always been a key factor of international security after World War II to this day. And those who have been creating new arms race over the 15 years, imposing unlawful restrictions, I would like to say that Russia will only use nuclear weapons when nuclear weapons are used against Russia or against its allies, or in case of a direct aggression against Russia with conventional weapons that poses an existential threat to our nation. It's very clear and specific. So, I have to say the following. Any use of nuclear weapons against Russia or its allies, small range, medium range, any kind of attack will be regarded as a nuclear attack against Russia, and in response, we will take action instantaneously, no matter what the consequences are. Nobody should have any doubt about that. Don't create new threats for the world. On the contrary, you should come to the negotiating table and think together on a new international security system that will provide for steady development of the world in the future. We have talked to you about this on many occasions, and we remain open for that. Our policy will never be based on exceptionalism. We
need to be courageous and brave. We need to take the responsibility and the obligations to become stronger and better, benefiting our family, our people, our country, changing the life to the better, creating a Russia which we are dreaming of. Then the upcoming decades, the whole 21st century, will be the time of our victories, our common success, and I believe that this is going to be the case. Thank you.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you.